All right, welcome. Today we're mapping out the journey to becoming a truly excellent trader. And I'll give you a hint right up front. The map doesn't lead to some perfect strategy or a secret indicator. Nope, the journey leads inward. It's all about mastering yourself, not just the market. Okay, let's dive into this.
You know, this quote really just gets straight to the heart of it all. True mastery, it's not about having like 81 different entry methods or the fanciest charting software. It's about psychology, it's about discipline, and it's about self-management. It all comes down to the person who's actually clicking the mouse.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to redefine what excellence in trading even means. Then we'll talk about the huge trap of impatience that so many people fall into. We'll look at this critical cocoon phase of deep study, figure out what the real goal, independence, looks like, and finally, we'll lay out some core principles for your own journey.
Okay, first things first, we've got to get our definition straight. See, the common goal in trading seems to be being right all the time, right? Catching every single move perfectly. But that's not excellence. That's a really dangerous chase for perfection.
Look at this comparison. It's pretty powerful. Perfection is totally ego-driven. It's that burning need to be right. But excellence? Well, that's all about the process. It's about doing what your plan says you should do every single time. It's about preserving your capital and, being content with good execution, not just some flawless outcome. So the takeaway here is huge. Stop chasing perfection and start practicing excellence.
And that idea leads us right into the single biggest hurdle for pretty much every new trader: impatience. You learn a couple of patterns, maybe have some success on a demo account, and you think, okay, I'm ready. But that early stage is so deceptive because your point of view is dangerously limited.
Our source material uses this brilliant analogy for that limited view. It's called the triangle perspective. Basically, the idea is that what you see in your first year feels like the entire universe of trading, when in reality, it's just the first few notes of a really long song.
So imagine this. You hold your hands up to your face and make a little triangle. That small window you're looking through, that's your perspective after a few months. It feels complete, doesn't it? But it's just a tiny little snapshot. You haven't seen a full market cycle, you haven't seen different kinds of volatility, you have no idea how your strategy holds up over thousands of trades. And it's this narrow view that fuels that dangerous impatience to just go all in before you're even close to being ready.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. That first year, it's just the invitation. It's an invitation to the dance. But a full trading career, that's the entire party. It's dynamic, it's complex, and it is so much bigger than that tiny initial view. Mistaking that invitation for the whole party, well, that's the classic trap right there.
So the big question is, how do you get from that tiny triangle perspective to seeing the full picture? And that brings us to maybe the most critical stage of all, the cocoon of study. Just like a caterpillar has to isolate itself to transform, a trader has to go into a period of really intense, focused work, away from all the noise.
Yeah, and let's be totally clear about this. This transformation, it's not free. It costs time, it costs energy, it costs sacrifice. It means you've got to say no to distractions, to scrolling through social media, and to that constant hunt for the next holy grail. The path to excellence demands real, dedicated effort. There's no way around it.
You see, this process is super deliberate. First, you get the info you need, then, and this is so important, you shut out all the noise. All the chatter online, all the conflicting opinions. You just devote yourself to studying. We're talking backtesting, screen time, journaling. You do that until you emerge with a deep, personal understanding of your craft. You literally have to die as a caterpillar to become the butterfly.
So what happens after you finally emerge from that cocoon? You reach the true destination. And it's not a specific amount of money or a fancy car. No, the ultimate goal of this entire journey is to achieve true, unshakable independence. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? Independence means you've done the work, you have your model, and you trust yourself. You don't need to check Twitter to see what your mentor is thinking about the market anymore. You've gotten to the point where you can thank your teachers for everything they've done and then walk your own path, confidently. That is the ultimate success. So what does this person even look like? Well, they're calm. They're not in a rush. They're definitely not on social media posting every single winning trade just for likes. In fact, you probably won't hear much from them at all because they're busy executing their plan and, living their life. They've shifted their focus from mastering the market to mastering themselves.
All right, let's wrap this all up and bring it home. Here are the core principles you can actually use to start walking your own path to excellence, starting today.
Okay, here are your big takeaways. First, stop looking for shortcuts.
Study everything so you get that wide panoramic view. Second, please stop system hopping. Pick one model and just commit to it for at least a few months so you can really learn its strengths and weaknesses. Third, you've got to accept that losses and painful lessons, they're not failures. They're just tuition you pay to the market. It's part of the process. And finally, always remember that self-sufficiency, not money, is the true destination.
And this really gets to the why behind this whole journey. The motivation, the whole point, is to build a skill that gives you genuine freedom, the ability to operate on your own terms without depending on a job or a boss. It's really about creating your own self-sufficiency in a world that is always changing.
So we'll end with this question for you to think about. Your destination is excellence. It's internal. It's about true independence. You have the roadmap. The only question left is, what is the very next step you're going to take on that journey today?